If thinking about your revisions gives you the feeling of uncertainty and worry and overwhelm, you need to stay to the end of this video. Hello, welcome back to Chats and Chapters. I am Caitlin Howarth, book editor, story fanatic, and today we're going to go over the mindset shift that you have to make before you start working on your revisions. But first, if you are looking for an extra pair of eyes on your manuscript, the link to work with me is in the description below. You can learn more about my rates, the process, all of that stuff on my website. If you are in the drafting phase and you are coming to the end and you're unsure about your self-editing journey, then my revision roadmap program will start up on June 22nd and you can join now. Let's get into the mindset, because writing your story was probably a big adventure. Maybe you loved it, maybe you struggled, but either way, you have to bring the same level of dedication to your revision process. Because whether you loved the writing process and it came fairly easily, I'm sure there had to have been days that you didn't really feel like it. Maybe you had some writer's block, maybe you were overwhelmed with something at work or with the kids or just laundry, whatever. You're never going to feel 100% of the time. And so yes, writing is great, getting everything out there is amazing, but you have to bring that same level of dedication into your revision process, because your revisions, first and foremost, make you a better writer. You are less likely to make a mistake that you catch yourself. Now, as an editor, obviously I agree, getting editor feedback is amazing. It's definitely useful. It can completely transform a manuscript for the better, but having an editor tell you things, while helpful, it sticks so much better and quicker if you find it on your own. So number one, your revisions make you a better writer. You get to take all of that within your next story, within your next round of revisions. Everything that you learn makes you better and better as you go through the process. The second thing, your revisions give you the opportunity to make your story exactly what you want it to be. Yes, they make you a better writer. Yes, there's so many other things that we're going to get into, but honestly, if you don't do revisions and you immediately just give your rough draft to beta readers or family or whatever, and they give you their feedback, they're probably not focusing on the most important things. And you might get the feedback and you might be like, oh yeah, duh, I would have changed that. That was a mistake. I didn't do that on purpose. That was an oversight. Oh, I didn't realize that character disappeared. I need to add that in. You doing your self-edits, you doing your revisions really give you the opportunity to make your story exactly what you want it to be, as close as you can get it, before you get anyone else's opinion. And I think that is so important, because you decided to write this story. You decided to create these characters. You decided to place them in this world for a reason and make them go on the journey for a reason. And so you owe it to yourself and your story to go back through it, clean it up, make it as smooth as possible, make sure that the character arcs are what you want them to be, to make sure that the characters are what you want them to be, to make sure the world feels the way that you want it to. It gives you the opportunity to make your story what you want it. And I think that at this point, yeah, you've been through it a million times, but you take some time away from it and you have to go into it thinking, this is refining. This is improving. This isn't a slog and another task that I have to do. This is really where your story comes to life as you go back through it and really see what's on the page, because some things you might have thought you added and you didn't, and you need to add those back in. There's some things that you might have added that you don't want in there. I cannot stress this enough. Your revisions are your opportunity to make your story exactly what you want it to be before you get anyone else's opinion on it. Number three, your revisions help you refine your writing process for the next one. Week 7 within the revision roadmap program, we go over strengths and weaknesses. And as you're going through your self-edits, you can see your strengths and your weaknesses, and you can lean into those for the next book. And by this, I mean, you have to do a lot of character work during your revisions. Maybe you realize that is not one of your strongest points. Maybe tracking character arcs, maybe really taking them on a growth journey. You're not quite at your best level with that. that. Not saying you're bad at it, not saying you should feel bad or anything, but maybe that's what you struggle with. You had to do a lot of character work during your round of revisions, and maybe because of that, for your next story, you do more character outlining beforehand. You do a little more brainstorming on your main character. You have a clearer picture on the journey that they go on before you start writing to save you a little bit of time during that revision process. I always say if you're a pantser, you are probably going to spend more time doing revisions because you didn't have that plan before. It's not a bad thing. It is however your brain works, but I really think doing your revisions refines your writing process, and you continue to learn about yourself, learn how you like writing, learn what is your strengths, your weaknesses, and you can tweak it as you go story to story. The fourth thing that your revisions do is they make professional edits cheaper. When someone reaches out to me about wanting to work one-on-one on a project, I read a 2,000 to 3,000 word excerpt before I give the author a quote. And I do this because my rates depend on the state of the manuscript. So I can tell when authors do multiple rounds of self-edits, and I can tell when they don't. If there is very obvious things that could be fixed, things that they would have easily seen if they had gone back through it, I know that they didn't do that. And so if they want me to do edits on it at that level in that state, it's going to take me a lot longer to get through the obvious problems to dig deeper into the meat and potatoes of the actual story. So if you go through your self edits, once again, get your story as close and as perfect as you can get it on your own, it will make them cheaper. So if you want the most bang for your buck when working with an editor, you have to edit it yourself first. And then number 5, the fifth and final self-editing mindset shift that you need to know is that it's part of the writing process, period. A little tough love moment. It just is. Think of it as paying taxes, except a lot better. You have to pay taxes, but instead of giving your money away, you are creating something from your soul. Yes, it takes a lot of work, all of that good stuff. It's maybe not super fun in the moment, but it keeps you out of prison. It gives you the opportunity to release your book on Amazon. It is part of the process. You have to do it. Or you can think of it as a relationship. You can't stay in the honeymoon phase forever. You're gonna have fights, disagreements, whatever you wanna call them. You'll have differing opinions. You'll have to meet the family. And think of all of these uncomfortable moments as necessary steps for the prize. So that is either your partner or your spouse or your story. Like I said, you have to pay taxes, you have to have uncomfortable moments, and that is part of life. And self-edits are a part of writing your story and getting it released and into the hands of your readers. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, today's episode on the self-editing mindset that you need as you go into your self-edits. If you want a lot more guidance on your self-editing journey, my revision roadmap program starts on June 22nd. You can join the program. Can't wait to see you in there. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.